Welcome to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright. This show is all about honoring you as a spiritual being, having a human experience. You are here for a reason, and it's no mistake that you are here on Earth right now. Spirit has guided you to this very moment in time, so you could hear the messages Pam is about to share with you. She is a multidimensional healer, light language channel, transformation coach, wife and mother, committed to helping you discover the tools and practices to empower you to live the best life you can. You get to choose the spirit path you take. You can connect to the spiritual guidance already all around you. Get ready to live a fully empowered life. This is the Empower Me Show.
Welcome back to the Empower Me Show. I'm Pam Bright. I'm your hostess today, and I am so thrilled to have my special guest, Jill Mattson, with us. She is a sound healer of 30 years experience with combining the science behind what sound healing really is all about. So I'm so thrilled you're here, Jill. Thank you very much for coming. I know that a lot is going on in the world for us to handle these days. And so this show is really about helping you to have some tools, tips, and techniques that are going to assist you in anchoring in the energies that are really going to empower you in your daily life from here forward. So before we get started, it always helps me, and I know it helps you, the listeners, to really do some grounding first, to just anchor in on this particular moment in time and allowing us to center into our core selves so that we can experience what is here for us right now in this moment. So if you're in a position
for grounding, one can use sound. So a really powerful way to ground is go a comfortable speaking voice, and then just float as deep as you can. And you become much more powerful.
Wonderful, wonderful. So maybe I'll do some and then you can do some as well, and then we can go back and forth a little bit, and then we'll come back and really connect in with Jill and her expertise with what she's been using sound for in the last 30 years or so. So everyone, go ahead and just close your eyes if you can. If you're not in a position where you can do that, simply listen to my voice, listen to Jill's voice, and allow yourselves to disconnect from the world outside of you, all of the noise that seems to pervade our world these days, and simply come into your breath. Feeling that breath coming into your body. You can even pull it up through the earth, because the earth is a living being. So imagine that she can come in and breathe you. So bring her in all the way up through your legs, into your torso, up through your head, and then down, using that nice breath with sound all the way down to the core. And maybe some of you who are listening can actually do that yourself, so you can feel that vibration of that sound in your body. When you can feel that in your body, you really know it's moving things around. There we go. Excellent. Good job. na na. Oh yeah, yeah, na yeah. Ay, ay, yeah, na yeah. Ooh, ooh, na 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 yeah, ooh yeah. Whew. Excellent. And then you can just bring yourself back up to your heart space, maybe touching your hand in your heart and on your solar plexus, simply allowing yourself a gratitude thank you to your body system and a thank you to the energies that are now present. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. Welcome back. So, Jill, you said yes to coming on this show, and actually Jill connected to me on the Empower Me show, which was excellent, and said, hey, I hear that you have a show. And I said, yes, I do. And so I said, well, who are you and what do you do? And she said, well, she's a sound healer and she's got her own business and she's been doing a bunch of CDs and books and lots of information out there for the last few years. So really, Jill, what do you think is the most important thing for us to know right now, March 10th, 2022?
Well, right off the top of my head, I can think of two ways to go with that. One is to talk about the frequencies of time, and the other is to talk about frequencies of enlightenment. So I'm going to start with the first one, enlightenment. Okay. You can analyze every frequency in your body. And if you were enlightened, you would have every frequency in equal amounts. So I just was thinking of this when you were toning, going, ooh. And I just really want to underscore that it's quick and it's easy and how powerful that is. Because any health issue is going to be a lack of a frequency or an overabundance of a frequency. And since we all have different personalities, we're one person's funny, one person's not, one person's introverted, one's extroverted. That's all frequency. And so it's like if you take our aura, one person's red, one person's blue. And we have different personalities and energy travels in octaves, same octaves of note, but our emotional issues and personality are very much related to our health issues. And of course, enlightenment is the balance of all of them. Mm-hmm. And one of the best ways to balance, in a very, very quick way used in antiquity for health, enlightenment, and also to calm your personal problems, is to do just what you did, Pam. Ah. And you'll find that you can't make a sound if it's not in your body. So frequently we'll be coming down going like, ah, ah, and there's that little gap, or the volume changes. You go, ah, 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 so the volume gets louder when you have an abundance of a tone. The volume gets softer or disappears when you don't have that tone. So one of the most fastest ways for enlightenment and health is to imagine, because sound and energy follows your intent. Let's say that the sound starts below your feet, and that usually provides a bit of a problem because most people have blockages in their feet because we wear synthetic soles. But you start at a tone like, oh, and I'm not going to bore everybody and go through the blockage in my feet, but ooh, ooh, I have a blockage right there. because it might seem like I am controlling my voice, but I'm not. I'm just allowing my voice to sing me. And when I do, it's coming up, and then it stops. And that's because I need that frequency. It's like your body knows how to use sound for enlightenment, for health. So I get stuck on that tone, and I'll just stay there for a while. Like, let's say I'm imagining it come up to my knees, and I just had knee surgery. I'm liable to be stuck on that tone for quite a while. But the longer I stay on it, the more I absorb that frequency I need. And, maybe in 5 minutes or so, my voice on its own naturally will start to rise. And then I've just done myself an incredibly important healing. And I think this is overlooked in many ways. I think we need to pay for something to value it. It's very powerful. It's very free. It's easy. You can take it anywhere. And food you eat, it's just putting certain frequencies in your body. And you can heal yourself with this. So there's one really powerful technique I thought of because of your beautiful toning. And then I'm going to just talk about the frequency of time. I got a new book coming out. I have 4 others published, but the new one is talking about time as a frequency, perhaps like a spiral. And that as ideas become of age, it's when they resonate with the frequency of changing time. Einstein tells us time's movable, and science has proven that. That's not a theory. So time can change, which to me means it goes, ooh. And I think popular music is music that rhymes or harmonizes, resonates with time. And when you look at the Chinese, the Egyptians, almost the Hindus, American Indians, they talk about very broad ages, periods of times of 26-some thousand years. And they liken these time cycles to sound. And they do that by talking about these time cycles as a harmonic chain, a bunch of different pitches. So if time over a 26,000 period is a bunch of different pitches, we're at the end of this cycle. That's why Nostradamus made end-time predictions. That's why John the Beloved in Revolution made end-time predictions. You find it in the Mayans, the Indians, all over, we're all saying we're at the end of a Platonic year, an end of a cycle before a beginning of a new. And the thing about the end of a cycle is that it mirrors harmonics in sound, and they're very, very dissonant. So if time itself comes in with dissonance, think of it as a cleansing force. Before we go into a new enlightenment, golden age, hopefully a time when the earth rises, these dissonant frequencies come in, and anything we've hidden in ourselves, personal secrets, they just start to amplify. And it'll be very difficult for personal secrets to be held in government, banks, religions, anything. Because negativity is at this time, this frequency, this time frequency, is going to be amplified, and it can augment it, but it can also set it free for transformation. So you said, what should we know on this particular date? Well, I would say that it is very challenging, and it seems like there's just one challenge after another. And we can focus on that challenge, and when you focus on negativity, you can make it more negative. Or you can just kind of tell yourself, I don't want that, or it's time to release that. Or just even imagine violet flames or any kind of metaphor or sound or imagination you could think to feel and then allow it to heal. Feel and allow it to release. Maybe even observe all the negativity around us. But just let it go. It's like we're taking a shower at this period in time and earth. So enjoy the shower.
That's great. So we're going to take a break here in a minute, but when we come back, I would love to hear more about, I know that a lot of people are dealing with, well, many things, but some people deal with body issues and the foods that they're eating. And we know that as we go through life, that the foods that are produced are very different than they used to be hundreds of years ago. So as these changes happen, it would be great to kind of talk about the vibrations of food and how food affects us internally, because I'm aware that it's very important for us to take care of these body temples, because we cannot have enlightenment in us spiritually unless we embody the teachings that we're learning. So we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more to Jill Mattson about what she knows about sound healing and how foods affect the body. We'll be right back. Back to the Empower Me show. I am Pam Bright. I am here with my dear friend Jill Mattson, and Jill and I actually just met recently online. She emailed me and said, "Hey, are you looking for special guests for your show still?" And I said, "Yes, of course I am." And so here she is, and she's talking to us about sound healing and how frequencies affect the way that we function in the world in all kinds of ways, and how science behind sound healing can actually assist us in everyday life. And one of the questions that I always ask my special guest, Jill, is, what does it mean to you to be a spiritual being having a human experience?
I think if we observe ourselves and observe what's going on, staying away from opinions or attachments or anger or even an emotional response, be it positive or negative, we come into a state of balance. And when you look at sound, when you look at enlightenment, when you look in health, it's balance. It's an equal amount of everything. And so I would say being a spiritual person in a physical body is that I want to love my body, but it is separate from me. We're kind of friends, but we're not the same thing. And to kind of see the world without attachment. And I think when I come in that kind of a framework, I'm able to be more supportive and more loving. I don't get caught in the fray. Sometimes I'll even imagine myself looking down on a person who's maybe very upset about something, and it'll shift my perspective. And it helps me to not get entangled with negativity that's around all of us. So I guess that would be my answer.
Okay, great. Excellent. And so in your learning, in your teachings, and in your science background, how does food affect the way that our bodies respond as a frequency?
Food as a frequency can enable and support enlightenment, which is really, I believe, the purpose of incarnating. So if I play the frequency of niacin, and that's a supplement that makes your face flush, if I just play that sound precisely, everyone's face is going to flush as if they took that supplement. You can look at your body and see what nutrients you have and see what you don't, because each nutrient in your body is a different frequency, and there's software and machines and mechanisms to do that. You'll find that any lack of a frequency is a problem for your body. And again, having equal amounts of all frequencies is health. So on one of my websites, coronavirusdefense.org, and also Jill's Wings of Light under free stuff, I worked with Sherry Edwards, who went inside the bodies, for example, and calculated how the coronavirus took down the immune system. First, it took down quercetin and nutrients in broccoli. And as it went down through the body, she could watch through sound exactly how a virus attacked your immune system, and it was done through the frequencies of nutrients. So I have beautiful music on both of those sites, Jill's Wings of Light Coronavirus Defense.org, an hour's worth, and it's loaded with all of the frequencies of bionutrients, things like vitamin C, vitamin D, and it helps build your defenses against a virus. I also have another music collection called Deep Wave Beauty, in which I put in the frequencies of vitamins and collagen and the muscles in your body. So I think of it this way. First of all, when it comes to the vitamins, we can eat them, but we don't always absorb them. We sometimes eliminate them because we have to have them in concert with other vitamins. Whereas if you put that together in sound, it's very invasive. You just get the vitamin. And then I put in collagen, and I'll also put in the frequencies of the muscles. And think of a violin. It's a little tiny instrument. It's high pitch. And then you got a cello, and it's a big instrument. It's low pitch. So it's got a longer string. So as we age, our muscles go, ooh. They get longer, they sag, they drop in pitch. So in the Deep Wave Beauty music collection, I have the frequencies, I put in the frequencies of your face and neck. And my first thought was kind of like beautiful music making you beautiful. Making you feel beautiful, making you look beautiful. And does it work? Yes, but I want to tell you another story about it. Some lady I didn't know wrote me, and she was listening a lot because dosage becomes an issue in sound. She was going to her high school reunion. So she listened to the Deep Wave Beauty music for 24/7 for like a week. And she wrote me to tell me, not that she looked younger, but she wrote to tell me that she had just had knee surgery and hadn't walked in 6 months and was planning on going to her reunion in a wheelchair. And she walked to her reunion. And when I took a look at the frequencies of, because it's all mapped out and it's pretty much generic, the frequencies of the muscles of your whole body, the muscles of your face and neck were an octave of the muscles in the rest of your body. And energy travels through octaves. Octaves is the same note, C, C. And so by listening to this, she tightened the muscles in her entire body and walked to her high school reunion. Woo!
Wow, that's great.
Woo. And I have another music collection. It's called Deep Wave Body Healing. And in this one, I have the frequencies of organs in your body, like your brain, heart, lungs, spleen, pancreas. And how to put it, but well, let's take your heart. It's going to have a averaged frequency. And then any sound has what we call a harmonic chain after it. It's just science. So a harmonic is easily described this way. A, E. E sounds higher, but listen. They're the same pitch. Listen again. A, E, same pitch. But the after ripples of the E throw more energy into the higher harmonics. So in the heart, let's say you have a root note, ooh, but then you're going to have these after ripples, these harmonics, and maybe one harmonic is the frequency of a valve, and another harmonic is of another valve, and so on. So the whole organ is like a unit of harmony when it's healthy. And I put in these harmonic chains. You don't get them in digital music because digital music by its nature averages frequency. So I got software and I made them by hand, if you will. So in this, and then I took the music, and digital music you can move up and down. So I precisely have like the pancreas music and the key signature of the pancreas. And then I have all these subtle little sounds, and many of the sounds that are very healing for us, they're very low in volume. We almost don't notice them. And sometimes they're even out of our hearing range, very healing tones. And so I have these harmonics in the background you don't really notice. You notice the beautiful music. And I also then found in my research that in ancient China, they had methods, meditation methods, to tune your organs. So they were, for example, associating each organ with an emotion. Liver with anger, heart with love, lungs with freedom, tummy with innocence. And when you look at the frequencies for emotions, and yes, they have distinct frequencies, and the frequencies of the organ, they're a match. So they would have methods of tuning, repairing, keeping your body healthy with emotions. They would have color correlations. You just had many ways to do it. And I put that all in sound and in these meditations. And I really have fun with it because I spent so much time making it. Same as someone working or listening to it a lot. I now memorized what a healthy spleen feels like versus a healthy pancreas.
Nice.
And so your spleen, of course, is going to get stressed if you're fighting a cold because it helps with your immune system. So I start to feel like I'm getting sick, I just go into that happy emotion and start singing the tones or put on the deep wave beauty healing music for that spleen and just tune myself right up. And when your body's in tune, when it has all its frequencies, it heals itself.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. So I'm thinking that it might be really great for the listeners to experience some of this, either through your own voice or through, some of the music in the background. And I know that you have your music on your website so that they can download some stuff and be able to do that. But maybe at the break, if you want to send a link to Jacob, he could put one on so that people can actually hear some of this music that you're talking about. Another way to do that is to just play it on your end, if it can come through your microphone, so that can happen. I use my own voice as my instrument, but I know that we have many instruments available. We've got the drum, we've got chimes, we've got Tibetan bells, we've got all kinds of things to really amp up the vibration within ourselves as well as in our environment. So that's what we're talking about today, is allowing ourselves to use frequency as a way of healing. And as you know, in my light language episode, everyone, from last week, that we do a lot of that in that episode. But today we are finding out from an expert who's been doing this for a long time, how she's using it actually as a healing modality. Do you use this like in the hospitals and in the different doctors' clinics or anything?
Well, they should. They should. I do it in a lot of creative ways. Like sound healing can be very individual. Let's say this person has diabetes. I don't want to listen to diabetes music. It would be like going into the hospital and just gobbling down everybody's pills without regard to what their issue was. But my music is all generic, meaning that everyone benefits. So like I have music to support your DNA, to support the God gene, which we all have, and it is found developed in evolved souls. I have music that enlightens your aura, that brings in sounds from the stars and sounds and patterns found in nature. And there's just so many ways to heal with sound, so many levels, and it's fun and it's easy and it's beautiful.
Yes, That's great. So let's take a break. And when we come back, we will see where this really a channeled conversation goes to after our break. And it can go in many different directions, as you know. So we're going to be right back and we'll see what happens next. Back to the Empower Me show with Pam Bright. I am Pam Bright, and I am here with my dear friend Jill Mattson, and she's talking to us about sound healing today in a world of frequency that affects every single part of our well-being, as well as particular problems that might or might not be going on for us individually. So as we've talked about, sound affects our bodies, from the organs to the blood, to the skin, to our hair, to our very DNA. And it also affects our emotional bodies as well as our spiritual bodies. So I'm going to turn this over to Jill, and she's got a little process for releasing negativity from us in a way that really works from the core of us cellularly all the way out to the extended world beyond the body. So Jill, it's up to you now.
All righty. Well, before I go into the process, let me sum up some of what are the free stuff on my website, All Sound Healing is. I have the samples from the Healing Flower Symphonies, which have the frequencies of the Bach flower remedies, an emotional remedy. And they use this sound-based technique from Pythagoras, in which you go into negative emotions in the body and you resonate with them, and then you release the negativity, and it's incredibly powerful. Think that I worry a lot. Well, worry is a certain cycle per second, aka frequency. It happens to be the exact same frequency as the lining in my tummy. So if I worry, the energy transfers on the same frequency, it's called resonance, and it bores a little hole in my tummy. Notice if I worry, I don't get a bunion, because that's a different frequency. In this manner, on the Healing Flower Symphonies, and there's free samples at Jill's Wings of Light, we'll go in and shake negativity to loosen it, because it literally gets stuck in your tissues. So if I worry, that very specific frequency in a negative format, it gets stuck underneath skin and the lining of my tummy. And what the sound does is it kind of jars it to release it. It's kind of like heal it, feel it, and then it heals. And also, the free stuff, there's music with the sound of the stars, shown to double crop growth, very good for your aura and health. And there's a whole music section, Paint Your Soul, with nature frequencies. When healthy, we are nature and we radiate with her. I have ancient sound codes of the names of God, and they literally, the ancient people left sound codes to connect us with divine attributes. It's very powerful. And music on how to contact angels and masters and chakras, all kinds of stuff. Jill's Wings of Light, free. Go to the free stuff tab. And also coronavirus defense for the immune building. So now on to the free, or the new exercise we're going to do. And this one is sound-based again, and it's from ancient China, Lao Tzu. And I want you to think of all the negativity, the really rotten stuff in the world, as being confined to the third dimension. Now we're talking about enlightenment, being light workers, languages of light, all these higher energies to help us evolve up, to help us like take all the density and just let it drop to the ground and transform it. So as we go to higher dimensions, as we embody more of that love or higher energy, it's like the negativity drips off. But in this exercise from Lao Tzu, it's very, very clever. They consider that energy in the third dimension gets colored negative, gets shifted out into like a certain negative pole. But at its roots, if balanced, it's energy, and it actually helps us. So it helps us when it's not in a negative state. So here's the exercise. I want you to think of either a negative situation, something hurtful, maybe even pain in your body. Another good way to do this would be to think of anger that someone showed you, like when they yelled at you and they said very unkind things to you. So like, for example, in that one, we're going to imagine someone saying really nasty, just that hateful, you know, you're no good kind, you're not good enough kind of energy coming at us. And I'd like you all to give it a tone. Sound is a carrier wave. It will combine with your emotions. Hello, hello, hello. I mean, the message is different, although the word's the same. So since sound and emotions combine, it doesn't matter what sound. Nobody can screw this up. Any sound's going to work. So I want you to think of that pain, that hate that came your way, that negativity, particularly somebody angry, just shooting crap at you, and give it a tone. And everyone's had that experience, so there's just no excuses for not lightening up here. So I'm going to do it first. I'm thinking of someone who said terrible things and was angry and was yelling at me. And I'm just going to go like, that's how that particular experience made me feel. Again, you can't make a wrong sound.
Okay.
So I want everybody to do that. You need to think of the terrible experience and give it sound, because we're transferring the outer body, and it has to get on the subway car called sound.
Okay. So I'm going to actually ask everyone to this again. We've talked about this is not a political show, but here we are in this position to actually affect an outcome of something pretty global right now. So we are all going to send sound to Russia. Okay, let's just do that. And again, I am not getting into a debate about this. This is simply a transmission of sound to the war that is happening between Ukraine and Russia. Okay, we're just going to send this information out.
And give it sound like, whatever it makes you feel like. Give it expression and sound.
All right, so. Feel
it. Feel it. Now I want you to take it up an octave. Now an octave is the same note, just higher. C, C. So it's, instead of going, I'm going to go, All right. Okay, now think of Russia, think of the people. Now, the next octave higher is probably out of my voice range, but I can imagine it, and I make the frequency in my imagination. So we're going to go up an octave higher with that sound. You ready?
Okay. Ooh, that was loud. Woo. All right, so see, we can use sound, folks, anytime.
Now I want to take it up even higher. I want you to imagine that as the pitch goes up, it goes above your head. So let's imagine it goes up another octave, and we're up, let's say, imagine you're 20 feet above the head. You can maybe look down on the roof of your house or your building or something, and just imagine the tone higher now. Go with it and feel it higher.
Okay.
Use your imagination. We're talking about pitch way above our hearing range. Now take it up another octave. Imagine that you can look at your whole town. You're up so high, the pitch is so high. Definitely not audible by ears, but it's still a frequency of vibration. It's beautiful high. And I want you to notice that the negativity is dropped. Now take it up another octave and you can see the country you're in. You can see part of the earth and feel now that the frequency is beautiful. There's no negativity. We've gotten out of 3rd D. We've kept the energy that we got from the war, and we've taken it now and transformed it into higher dimensions. And just imagine the earth and go up even higher and imagine our solar system. Take the frequency up even more and imagine the universe. This beautiful pink, loving energy of Mother, Father, God. This beautiful, beautiful, divine, complete, perfect energy. Healing, loving, embracing. All united, harmonious. It's the same energy, we just dropped the negativity off of it. And now it's going to start to come down like rain, coming down through the universe, to the solar system, down to Earth, down to your country, down to your house, and down into Russia, down into Ukraine. And just feel it like going into Ukraine and just lifting it up, the divine harmony. And just feel Ukraine and the people soaking it up. Feel Russia soaking it up. So they don't want to do this. So they stop it from within. Just soak it up. It feels so good. So we took the energy of hate and we transformed it by taking it up octaves. Because if you go up high enough, you go up to frequencies that reside in higher dimensions. And it's healing.
Mm-hmm. That was great. So it occurs to me as well that we can use frequency with color.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm thinking, and this exercise, folks, you can use this all the time for anything in your life that you're working with: worry, anger, fear, despair, anything that, especially of the lower frequencies, that really is going to shift everything in any world that you're experiencing right now. And it will affect other people and other experiences and other places for your well-being. So the color of love. So if we were to think about the color of love and what that sound would be, do you have a sound that's coming through you through your voice?
Well, okay, but let me just talk a little bit about color.
Yes.
The science behind what you're talking. If you were to count, and we can, the cycles per second in colored light, let's say pink light, and you take it down musical octaves, C, you'll find that pink light corresponds to the musical note C. Orange light corresponds to the musical note D. So our piano is different rainbows rolled out. There is a caveat in sound healing, and that is that we have two brain hemispheres and they process frequencies differently. So for all energy, and we're all about frequencies, many of our frequencies come in through the ears and they go through a sound processor. When they go into your right hemisphere, it's whole-brained. Think of all being one, connection with spirit together. You know, if you have a stroke and you lose your left brain, you can't talk, you can't do numbers, you can't read. So it has a very different, all connected with spiritual, it has a very different, it has a reciprocal or opposite way of treating frequencies, the left brain hemisphere. and both hemispheres being very important. So in the left hemisphere, we analyze, we add, we talk, we have language, and it's very sequential. So if I, how to put this? If I hear a sound C, if I'm primarily listening in my right ear, it goes to my left brain, and it might flip to the frequency of green. So you'll find your complementary colors in your body are kind of like a seesaw. So if you have too much red frequency, you don't have enough green. So that's why people who are interior decorators use complementary colors. Not only do they pop, but they balance. So, and you'll find that frequencies sometimes flip depending on what mood or what you're doing. So if I'm doing my taxes and I'm listening to music, it might be interpreted in my body a little bit differently than if I'm doing a meditation. So one way to control that would be to just put a piece of cotton in your ear, and then you could do the one dominant. If you want to be very spiritual, you could just put a little piece of cotton in your right ear, and then you're just going to hear your sounds, and it's going to go into this holistic space. So it gets kind of confusing when you get into science. I know it's just a little hour talk here, but there are these little different rules, and they're not hard, but there's a few of them. And I'd like to simplify this and say that when it comes to frequencies or colors, your body is conscious. Your body knows what makes health. If you crave something, like if you're craving an orange, you probably need vitamin C, which correlates to the musical note of C. So you might find you get some of that frequency by a color, you might get some by eating this, you might by speaking this, you're going to do your light language and come out with that frequency. And it's humbling to me that my body's aware of so many things that I'm not, and I'm not aware that my body's aware more than I am. It's very humbling. And I'd like to say your body's conscious and will heal you if you allow it.
Absolutely.
And when you need something, your body releases endorphins. It's its way of saying, attaboy, attaboy, come on, this way, this way. And so, like, for example, I love classical music. You can play Moonlight Sonata in 3 different keys and don't tell me. I'm always low on the note D. It's my personality. So anyway, I'm always healed by the note D. And if you don't tell me anything about those 3 Moonlight Sonatas, every time I'm going to pick the one in D. Why? Because it heals me. And my body releases endorphins. So I'll get this pleasure from listening to the music that heals me. And how beautiful is that?
That is very wonderful. And yes, I will confirm that the body is intelligent and the body knows what the body needs. And I have said this over and over and over again in this particular show, the Empower Me show, is our bodies are intelligent. Our bodies, they are the vehicle with which Creator God can move and breathe. So when we realize that there's Creator, okay, Creator created everything that's on the planet, right? They created human beings, created plant life, created trees and grasses and herbs and, animals and everything that's alive here. And then we realize, oh, we are souls that have incarnated into a human form. When we bring all of that together into one, then we can heal ourselves consciously. And sound can heal you in a way that you never, ever imagined. So my invitation is to take this on, folks, as a research project, really. And it sounds like Jill has an amazing plethora of information for us on her website.
Just a thought, on one of my music collections or CDs called Contacting Angels and Masters, I have music in the key signature of, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet.
Excellent.
And then I channeled the angels and masters associated with each color. Because what I found was that when I channel, channel Jesus, he always feels the same. It's like I can sit here and imagine my mother sitting next to me, and I can feel a subtle switch in how I feel.
Excellent.
And it always feels the same. And so I can listen to a silent track, and probably most everybody else could too. It's not a special person's skill. Everybody has this innately. But we sense and know what people feel like. And so I can identify when I channel all of the pink masters, or Jesus is associated with yellow, Saint Germain with violet, Buddha with green, Archangel Michael with blue, Archangel Raphael with green. So you can look at cosmic beings, and they will radiate a color, which means they've kind of like graduated from the high school of enlightenment, white light, and then they took on a master's degree, let's say in purple or violet or something. And so I channel these frequencies, and I have this beautiful little sound bath of going through the rainbow.
Excellent. So, Jill, unfortunately, we have to end, but if you want to find out more about this amazing world of frequency from Jill Mattson, again, tell the viewers where your website is.
Jill's wingsoflight.com. And there's a ton of stuff. There's videos on how to use sound healing. Oh my gosh, there's got to be 35 hours of learning to be a sound healer on the site.
Okay.
There's several hours of free stuff, and the immune stuff can also be found there and at coronavirusdefense.org.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming, Jill. I absolutely loved the show. And we will be back next week, folks, with the Empower Me show. And I believe we are talking about full body system wellness. And I will share more with you as the days go by. So many blessings to you, Jill. Many blessings to you, the listeners. And as always, be good to you and be good to your loved ones, and know that you are always, always, always supported in all of who you are. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Empower Me Show with Pam Bright on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in to learn more about living a fully empowered life. Remember that your life is up to you, and you can choose the spiritual path you are on. There is spiritual energy and wisdom in everything and everyone around you. Listen carefully for what the universe is trying to tell you in every moment. You are already being guided along your journey. Call upon your spirit guides anytime you need help with anything. Know that you are safe in every moment, even if it seems that you are not. For more information about Pam Bright, visit brightbutterflyenterprises.com or email theempowermeshow@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. We hope to see you next week.